Hello and welcome to episode 13 of Rival Banter. I'm one of your hosts, Luke Croft, alongside my esteemed co-host, Lieutenant Seth Martin. Seth, how you doing, my friend?
What is up, my sister? Doing well, my friend.
Is Lieutenant like, I don't know, mid ranks? I don't know. How much Call of Duty
Yeah,
have you
it's not.
played?
It's nothing to scoff at. It's not a general, but or whatever. Lieutenant Dan seemed pretty cool.
That's true. And Terry Cruz's character in Brooklyn Nine-Nine was working his way up to
Mm-hmm.
Lieutenant by the end of the
Mm-hmm.
series. So um all right. Well, congrats on the promotion to lieutenant. But we were just discussing right before we went live that you were winding down the end of your school year. What's the first thing you're planning on doing with your summer once it starts next week?
I'm just gonna be catching up on some stuff. It's easy to get behind. I feel like I do a better job every year of doing more stuff that I want to do when I want to do it. Um, your first like 5 years teaching. Somebody told me this at a quick lube one time when when I met a former principal at a how people do, they talk to you in places, and you're like, oh, what, some old lady's talking to me, oh, what do you do? Oh, I teach. It was like year 1 or 2 for me. She's like, the first 5 years are the hardest, and I was like, fuck are you talking about, lady? 5 years? And it was true. We're in year 8 right now, so it's kind of like you're settling. Cat? Did you hear that? Okay, my cat knocked over some shit. Um, yeah. So I'm kind of in that zone. Like you spend your first few years just like hustling and grinding, and trying to develop stuff and kind of get a rhythm. And I'm getting more into that comfortable phase, I think, now. And plus, parenthood plays a big role in that too. You don't have as much time for yourself, so I'm kind of getting to the zone now where I've got more time for my books and stuff, my fancy books, for my games, and for my whatevers, and I'm could spend some more time doing that stuff. That's just really what I'm looking forward to. That and not having to wake up at the crack of dawn every day. Probably still will. Whatever.
Yeah, yeah, dude. I've given up on the whole idea of like sleeping in as an adult. The thing is like I've never been someone who sleeps in. Like even when I was in like high school, on the weekends I was working at the grocery store and I like opened, so I had to be there at like 7 in the morning,
Mm,
you know.
mhm.
So I've just and when I was in college, like I always tried to get the earliest classes possible so I could be done at like lunchtime and then just have the rest of the day to myself. So sleeping in's never really been that big of an appeal to me. I am looking forward to this long weekend coming up though, because I have not had a day off in a while. So very
The
excited for.
business world is different. Yeah, business
Yeah,
economics.
yeah, and I was contracting there for like a year, so if I took time off, it was like I wasn't getting paid to take time off. Now I'm full time again,
Mhm.
so I've got like vacation time, and I actually get holidays and stuff like that. So it's been a good like 2 years since I've had like legit time off. So very excited for just one single day to get paid to just sit around my house in my underwear all day.
It's the American dream.
Amen, brother. All right. Well, this is Rival Banter, show all about Marvel Rivals. We get together here on twitch.tv/ it is Hoagie on Tuesdays and do this show live. And then we push it out to YouTube and podcast services everywhere the following Wednesday. Wherever you're listening to us, we thank you. We appreciate you and we love you. So make sure you're leaving us a comment, liking us, and following or subscribing. We also have new social channels. We have an Instagram and a TikTok where you can find us at Rival Banter. Easy enough, just our podcast name. And we posted all of our stuff to them last week. Dude, TikTok is like I get it, but it's so weird. Like TikTok has the sort of it's like spam protection, right, for new accounts. Um, and so I made the new account. I put like all of our links in the bio and all that sort of stuff. And I use this service called Buffer that like schedules out the shorts that I've made to go out. So it's posting 2 or 3 shorts a day or TikToks a day. And I'm starting to look and I'm like, holy shit, like nothing is getting views. And I'm not talking like 15, 20 views. I'm talking 0 views on videos. I'm like, what the hell? Like TikTok, give love a chance, you know? Um, and so I start Googling like, what the hell is going on? Like, and apparently TikTok has this weird spam protection where if you like put links in your bio, like in the first week that you have an account, it just automatically assumes your spam account and doesn't serve any of your videos. And as soon as I took the links out of the account, all of our videos started getting served. So,
Oh
um,
wow.
so that's all it took. And so we got some comments we're going to be looking at here in just a minute. But if you are on TikTok or Instagram, and let's be honest, if you're listening to this and you're not on either of those platforms, I'm not sure what you're doing. Just search for us at Rival Banter. Give us a follow over there. Seth, you ready to jump into some comments? We got plenty of them over here.
Yeah, let's plow, baby.
All right, well, let's start. This first one is from JMP9861. This was from Spotify. He says, "What up, guys? I love the content and conversations. Thank you so much." He said, "I just wanted to add my thoughts for the 3 hero lineup." So this was for the draft we did of 3v3. He said, "I would have picked Thor, Loki, and Hela. I mean, they are a godly trio." Saw a lot of comments about the Asgardian trio as the people that would pick it. And I think, it's a lore accurate trio, but they also, pretty strong combo.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. Loki, I mean, if you play him right, play him well, then yeah, he's a menace on the healing side. Thor's got that power, he's got a little range, he's got some escapability, and same thing for Hela. At least season one, she was like one of the go-to DPS slots for a lot of pro players. So yeah, I think that I mean still solid. I don't know if I don't feel like Hela is as popular as she used to be right now, but still overall solid pick for sure.
I think with Loki, you're kind of limited, right? Like to whatever the support on the other team is, right? To get any value out of your ult, because it's like, are you going to copy your Thor or your Hela and just leave your team without a support for a while? That's the only reason I would hesitate to have a Loki in a 3v3 comp. But
But you could also do it as I mean, you could steal their support ult, right?
yeah, you could steal the other team support ult. So if they're running something, but then if you have 2 Lokis, what do you do? You know, if
Mm,
they're running a Loki. Um, but I mean, you do get like the res with Hela and Thor still, right? That passive still exists, I think.
yeah, yeah.
So, um, so yeah. Um, Alan, the average old Joe over on YouTube, responded to our discussion about whether or not Black Widow is just in desperate need of a complete rework, and says the proposed change he would make is make non-scoped shots spammable like Hawkeye. You think that would
Huh.
make any kind of a difference there, Seth?
I mean, it's something, like I don't know, like I don't even like Black Widow in like the MCU. Not that I don't like Scarlett Johansson or whatever. I just like I don't know, like I just don't feel like there's a lot there. I mean, there's some cool stuff, but I don't know. Like I just not one of my favorite characters in general, and I just don't feel like I mean, she's just not fun to play. I don't know. Like, what's the difference? Like, how do you make Scarlet, or not Scarlet Witch, God, Black Widow into a Widowmaker, right? I don't know. Like, I feel like they're the same character in some ways. They just there's something there. I don't know if it's like the kind of the flow to playing Widow. Like, didn't she have her grappling hook and stuff like that? She could kind of zip around.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, it's been a while. Yeah, I don't know if like maybe she needs something like that. Just something to make her kind of like a little more nimble. But for sure, I think that's a solid thing. I mean, if you make it easier to get kills with her, then people are naturally going to gravitate to her.
Yeah. I don't know a whole lot about Black Widow except for the few times that I've seen her in the Marvel movies I've watched. She's normally like in people's face kicking ass, and like
Well, she's an ass kicker for sure.
she kind of uses her like technology. She feels a little more like a DC character to me. Like it's a little more like,
Little Batman
yeah, a
vibe,
little
kind of like
Batman-y, She doesn't really have
that makes
superpowers so much as she
that
has just
makes sense.
technology.
Her superpower is just like how good she is, and like how well trained she is. Like if you get into it, same thing for her sister, like in Thunderbolts, right? If you've seen that movie,
I have
she's
not.
badass women kicking the shit out of people. Um, sh I just don't feel like that translates. Like, when you play Hulk in the game, he's so just fucking buff and strong. Grr, and then when you play Thor, same kind of thing. Like you kind of feel like you feel like the electrical current. You feel into the vibration in your dual sense, right? You kind of feel power of his hammer as he's slinging it around. Um, Iron Man, you get the feel of like flying around and just like just launching missiles and lasers and shit. I just don't get that from Black Widow. I mean, she's got her little kick, she's got her little batons, and she's got her sniper rifle, and I mean that's kind of it. Um, I don't know. Like I feel like just she needs something to make her in the game more badass, just
Mhm.
kind of more fun, more fluid to play.
Yeah, for sure. Um, but appreciate the comment, average old Joe. I think they're going to try to make as many of those kind of tweaks as they can before throwing in the towel to just a complete rework. So I'm sure we'll see spammable, non-scope shots before we see a total rework. All right, Seth. I've also got some other comments on our 3v3 video here that I want us to just kind of quickly react and give our thoughts to these varying 3v3 combos here. So I'm Finesse commented and said, Penny, Iron Fist, Rocket would go crazy. And I feel like would go crazy is a crazy statement in and of itself. Like, I'm trying. Is there
I
something I'm missing here?
I don't know. I'm kind of wondering too. I'm Vanessa. I'm sure that you're not totally wrong, but I just don't know exactly what it is. Rocket, I mean, yeah, you've got healability for sure. I just don't know. Like Penny, maybe it depends on the mode. I just don't know if Penny's giving off the power right now in this meta that I want. If it's just a 3v3, right? I'm not crazy Penny solo tank myself, just in general, just for those reasons, right? But I mean, Iron Fist has been popping off here lately, so I mean, I'm definitely not mad at that. I'm more just concerned over the Penny on that one.
Yeah, yeah. I don't really have an issue with the Iron Fist. If I'm going Iron Fist, I'd probably want to put like Luna with him for the team up and the, just being able to kind of put the snowflake on him. Yeah, Penny as a solo tank. I don't know what exactly you're gonna accomplish there, but appreciate the comment nonetheless. Brian says Groot, Bucky, Cloak and Dagger. Feel like Brian might be playing on an old patch, but
I mean, Bucky, he can still do some stuff. He definitely isn't as strong as he was feeling in season 1.5. But I don't know. I mean, Cloak and Groot definitely, like we've said last week, right? Definitely still solid picks in
yeah.
that meta. Bucky, again, maybe it just depends on the player.
And you do have the combo of like strangling prison with Bucky's ult still, and like that's a really powerful
Right,
combo. So
right.
so maybe, and if you have a Bucky who's a good shot, I mean, I guess I'm judging this based off of the Buckies we play with, who you end the game and you're like, how do you have a negative 4% accuracy rate?
Where did you like what were you doing? And that kind of like any of the Groot combos here, like with Ryan 752, Groot, Invis, and Scarlet Witch, or Groot, Mr. Fantastic Rocket, right? I think those tank healer combos are great. Pretty much anything goes along with Groot's ult, right? Just that, he's trapping you down, he's holding you down just so you can execute whatever it is that you're doing. That's definitely like kind of a godsend for Mr. Fantastic, right? Like just him bouncing up and down all over the place. I feel like it's a lot harder to hit people when you're just popping that off, in the middle of a dom game. Versus when they're trapped down, you can at least probably get a good solid 2-3 hits while they're trapped, right? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I could see that for sure.
And the value you're going to get out of group walls in a 3v3 is going to go insane. I mean, obviously, we're not like thinking about how it would be adjusted, like the numbers, but I mean, think about how hard it is already to break like ironwood wall in a 3v3
Mhm.
game. How much harder is it going to be? Like, you'll be able to isolate people. Maybe Groot was the pick all along, and Mag and who was your tank pick? I went Mag. You went
I think,
you went Hulk.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we both missed the mark. Maybe Groot was the pick. And then
He's up there
Jesus
for sure.
showed up into our comments. Thanks for taking the time. He is omnipresent, so I guess he's in all of our comments sections.
Thank
Uh,
you, Lord.
Thank you, Lord. Says, like others have said, Asgardian Trio is pretty decent / broken, but I also want to mention Magneto, Star Lord, and Adam Warlock. Res comp for Adam. Yeah, I like that. I think I love the idea of a Star Lord with Mag, because I think Mag Bubble empowering Star Lord to just kind of go crazy in the back line. Is great. I think Mag can use his ult to kind of protect the Star Lord while he's using his ult as well. So you can't just kind of free fire on him. The Adam Warlock res is big. I think you get a whole lot more value out of like Soul Bond and the kind of AoE healing out of just his normal like healing ability with Adam Warlock with just 2 people on the field too. So yeah, I think that's pretty good.
I think that's pretty solid too. I may just be biased as a mag main myself, or he's up there at least for me. I'm just like I'm not crazy about Adam in most situations, but he does like when you've got that kind of Guardians res thing going on. Yeah, I mean that does make up for some of the like what you may be losing in healing output. So yeah, Jesus, I think yours was my favorite pick of them all. Congratulations, Yas, King of Kings.
Um, Imagine Groot has the res the res team up as well.
Good Lord, monster.
All right, guys, if you want a chance to be a part of our responding to comments segment, make sure you leave comments on the videos and episodes that we post, whether that's on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, or Spotify. We're looking everywhere for the best comments. So feel free to comment on anything, whether that's the draft that we're going to do here in a few minutes, whether that's, any of the news we talk about or the topic that we talk about near the end of the episode. But before we get into any of that, Seth, let's talk about our weekend rivals. What'd you get up to in this game?
Just still kind of plowing through event stuff. I finally did get my patch skin in this most recent event. I'm at the very end. I'm going to try to play just my minimum 3 games tonight, just so I can go ahead. I'm at the end of the Galacta event pass right now. So I've got 3 more games between me and my free skin. I'm going to go Hulk. I want that Gladiator Hulk skin. I just love that skin, and I think me having some Hulk skins is going to make me want to play Hulk a little bit more, um, which we've talked about before, right? So we played a little. Finally, we played like 6 or 7 games in comp the other night,
Yeah.
right? We kicked ass. Like
Yeah.
we won. I think we won on like a 5-game win streak,
Mm-hmm.
and just like slaughtered our enemies. And then we ran into some stupid people and we lost some games. But I mean, even then, I feel like we were still playing super well. I mean, our numbers were high. We're doing great. I'm almost out of gold 3 finally because of that. Uh, so hell yeah, it was a solid week for me. What about you?
Yeah, I'm just about silver 1. We are doing our new tank duoing in the games that we're able to tank duo and getting a lot of value out of our little Emma Frost Magneto team up abilities. How do you like I know you missed the big sword, obviously. That's the
I
best.
really do. Yeah.
But I mean, how does I don't play enough mag alongside of any Emma Frosts. So how does the team up feel?
It feels good. I am a fan of it. If I can get paired with an Emma, or if I see an Emma, I'm gonna go to that mag team up. It's pretty appealing. It's not the big sword. Like I still don't feel like it's got the power of the big sword. Maybe I'm just not as accurate, to make it worthwhile totally. But I mean, it's good. You that it comes in handy for sure. And if you can get the Psylocke in there too, I feel like it's a pretty solid bargain. Yeah.
How did that game last night that we ran 3 tanks on go? Because we ran so just a little rundown on the comp we ran. We had the Emma Frost, we had Mag, then we had a Hulk, then we had a Namor, and then we had like I don't know, like an Invis and Luna Snow or something like that, or Invis Rocket or something. I don't remember. Did we do well? Was that one of the games we lost?
I'm trying to remember too. I think it kind of had some back and forth. I know I tried switching off tank at one point and then coming back in.
That's right. You went Squirrel Girl
Actually,
for a little bit. right?
I think I did. I think I stayed Squirrel Girl that game. I'm not
That's right.
sure.
That was one of those where like we looked at the comp and we were like, wait a second, that might work. And then I don't think it did.
Yeah, but there was another game right after that where I played Squirrel, and it just wasn't going well at all. Which it was again wasn't really our fault. I think we ran into some strange healing situations in a couple of those games.
Yeah, we ran into a lot of cloaks. We ran into a
Just
couple
cloaks,
cloaks
yeah.
last night.
A lot of power cloaks.
Yeah. No daggers. So but no, no, it was a good week. I think I'm just about silver one now. And uh yeah, really I imagine we're gonna get some kind of a reset next week at season 2.5 or in the next couple weeks whenever season 2.5 is supposed to drop. So I want to make sure I get a good little climb in to not go all the way back down to the very bottom because that was hellacious. So I'm going to make sure to try to climb a little more this week. Dude, the design of and we may have talked about this last week, and if so, I apologize to our listeners. The design of the patch event isn't great. Like,
I don't think we talked about it a ton. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people confused about it online, and I mean, I get it. I think it was just kind of a UI thing, right? Like
yeah,
a user interface. It's I just like, especially in Act. I think it was mainly Act Two of the event. It had three parts to it, and then nothing else had more than one part, if I remember right. I just like I felt like I was stuck on Act Two for a week straight, and I would log on, I'd get it done, and then whatever. And if you like really kind of zoomed in or like just really went through ahead of time and looked ahead, I think it did say that there were parts to it. They were kind of listed in the tiers of the event, but like it's very small, pretty easy to miss. So yeah, I feel like it was a little convoluted. But again, like if you're just kind of interacting with the game on a daily or pretty regular basis, I mean,
yeah,
still overall, like I feel like I didn't have to work to get anything done specifically. It just kind of happened over time with with some time to spare for me. I'm not grinding every single day, for more than just a couple of matches. So it worked out. Not my favorite event, but I do like the stuff, and I kind of like, I don't know, the idea of like voting for the character skin for next year's event and stuff like that. So I'm not going to complain too much.
yeah. Well, hold on. Tell me about that. I think I'm out of the loop on this.
I think so. From if I may be misreading it or misunderstanding it, but I think so. In Act Three, you unlock tickets or whatever uh, to spend voting on like five or six different characters' gala costumes, and so whichever one you think is the best dressed is supposedly next year when they have the next Hellfire Gala event, they'll get a an exclusive skin. They just they will get this special Hellfire Gala skin.
Dude,
Maybe misreading it. Are you looking into it now?
yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I'm dumb. I mean, I'm not dumb. I just haven't really
I just, yeah, I
spent a
don't think
lot of
you've made
time
it
in
to that
this
part
event.
yet.
So,
Yeah. Would you like to guess who's in the lead?
hold on. I'm looking at who's in it right now.
It's if I remember right, it's Emma Frost. We've got Scarlet Witch, Black Panther, Hulk. We've got Captain America, and I think
Cloak and
Black
Dagger.
Widow. Oh, Cloak and Dagger. Yeah,
Yeah, so
Black
it's
Widow.
Emma Frost, Black Panther, Scarlet Witch, Cloak and Dagger, Wolverine, Black Widow, Bruce Banner, well, Hulk, and then Captain America. And my guess
Okay.
is that it's, my guess would be Black Panther, but
Really? He's like not even in the top four. It shows you the rankings or whatever. I spent my tickets on Hulk. He's in fourth. Just because I want more Hulk skins. But I don't know why I'm a big fan of Hulk skins. It's Crystal Mommy herself. It is
oh,
Choke Slam Mommy, Lady Dimitrescu or whatever. Different game. Um, you remember her?
no,
Okay, the Resident Evil lady.
oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, the giant lady. Step on me, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Um, yeah, so yeah, she's from what I understand pretty far in the lead and will probably remain there.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, Black Panther might have been a bad guess, but I feel like Black Panther's pretty popular. Um, Okay, cool. Yeah, I love this idea. I think this is a cool idea. It's a reason for people to come back to when they bring the event back around, you know. Um, but have they confirmed that that's what you're doing? You're voting for the character that's going to get that next skin?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it says when you when you click into the event, or to that phase of the event or whatever. So yeah, I guess we'll figure out once the event's over, and then it'll be probably a long wait for just whenever. I guess they'll launch it around the same time next year.
Yeah. No, love that idea. That's really cool. Yeah, I think I may have talked about this when I first was playing Fragpunk, but this event kind of felt like I do with Fragpunk, where like Fragpunk has 4 or 5 events going at any given time, and I never
Oh,
know like how to do any of the events that are going. I just play the game and wait for the little like indicator to pop up that I've done something in that event, and I go and I unlock whatever I got in the event. And uh this is the first time in Rivals where I kind of felt like that with this patch event, where I was just like, I don't really understand what I'm doing in these menus. I'm just going to play the game and hope it works itself out.
and
And it
I think nine
has.
times out of ten it does. Yeah.
Yeah. But I get that they're trying something cool with the voting and stuff like that. And I imagine part of the like design of it was to kind of keep that element of the event hidden to be revealed later. But yeah, I imagine they'll probably uh reconsider the design of their events following this one. But every event they've done is always has kind of, they've all kind of had different presentations, even if the way
Yeah, and I'm a
they,
fan of that. I like that nothing really feels the same. Everything kind of has its own kind of narrative to it, which is great and pretty unique. And everything's got, I mean, it just again like the UI changes almost for everyone. And plus, when you pair that with like the whole way that they've revamped challenges to this season, I think it's a welcome change. It just kind of shows the game's evolving and changing. It's not stagnating. So good for them.
all right, Seth, you ready for this week's draft?
Well, let's draft it, baby. On tap.
All right. So I want to do something a little different this week. Last week we did the 3v3. I think people enjoyed that. This week, what I want us to do is I just want us to see who can draft the most annoying team comp to deal with. All right.
Hmm.
And we're gonna do 2-2-2 because that's the way this game's supposed to be fucking played, everybody. All right, 2-2-2. Don't be locking in no third DPS. And we're not gonna do a snake draft. I'm just gonna give you first pick, and we're just gonna go back and forth. You pick a character, I'll pick a character. I'll fill out the show notes as we go through here. So, with your first pick of most annoying, give me your pick and just a short explanation of why, Seth.
Most annoying. I'm gonna go Groot. Now let's. Well, I guess we should clarify before, and I may rescind this. No, I'll leave it on just to be fair. Are we talking most annoying to play
Against.
against?
Yeah,
Okay,
just
yeah, I'm gonna
most
go.
annoying to deal with. Yeah.
I'm gonna go Groot just because, like, if you've got a solid Groot, they're blocking you, they're stopping you. Like he's constantly just kind of immobilizing you, and so that is frustrating as hell if it's done well. That's my pick. What do you got?
I'm just gonna go Spider-Man. He's annoying to have to deal with. He's got such a tiny hitbox. He's flying into your backline. He's fucking everybody up. He's annoying if he's
Mhm.
on your team. He's annoying if he's not on your team. He's annoying in every aspect of the game. So I'm just going Spider-Man.
Okay. Okay. Um, I'm just going to kind of keep going down the Vanguard line just because.
Mm.
So for me, I'd say if I had to pick a second one, it's probably going to be Hulk for me right now, especially when you've got that kind of name war thing going on. Yeah, and if you've got a great Hulk, again, they're all over the place. It's hard to keep track of them, kind of like Spider-Man with the bigger hitbox, right? He Yeah, I mean, he's a menace. If he gets in the back line, he can jump right out, no problem. He's constantly charging that jump. That's it for me.
All right, I think I'm gonna go Jeff with my next pick, just
Mm,
because. I mean, is he in your back line? Like he does an insane amount of damage for a strategist. His ult is easily counterable as it is, it's frustrating as hell when you get caught in it and you just gotta sit there for 10 seconds while you wait for him to
And as
spit you out.
easy as it is to read, it's easy to fall into as well. Like if you're just the least bit not careful, if you're just off it for a second, you miss that audio cue, you miss the vibe, it's over,
Mhm.
right? And that can be a make or break in a game. So I like that. I wish I had probably claimed him, but whatever. Um, I'm gonna go down to duelists. I'm gonna go Wolvie,
Mm.
tank shredder as a tank main, or like again as a primary role for me. Yeah, he can be a menace for sure. Even in this meta, I feel like if somebody's playing Wolverine well, they are a menace. So Wolverine for me.
I think I'm gonna go Namor as my second DPS. Just the turrets. If he does have a team up with Hulk, that third turret is a nightmare to have to deal with as well. And yeah, it's just one of those like annoying to have to deal with the turrets wherever they're at whenever you're approaching that kind of thing. You always kind of have to turn to deal with them. So I'm gonna go Namor as my second DPS. All right, Seth, you got one more DPS and your two healing slots left. What's your fourth pick?
I definitely should have chosen Namor because of the whole team up, but I'm tired, man. It's been a day of running. I'm gonna go Squirrel Girl then. She's so powerful, and I love it. Uh, just those acorns, those nuts, they just mess you up every time. Unless you just have no aim, but even if you have no aim, they bounce. It works, right? So yeah, that can be pretty annoying. I think if you've got like the melee covered, like the short range combat with Wolvie, Squirrel Girl kind of has that sniper thing going on, but you don't even have to be accurate with her. She can just mess you up from afar, no
Yeah,
matter what, right? So, like, if you're trying to come through a choke or in a small room, forget about it. Squirrel Girl.
and let's not forget, yeah, her ult is just super fucking annoying too.
A decimator, yeah, especially for supports.
For my last strategist, I think I'm going to go Loki for the same reason I went with Namor. You just kind of got to deal with his duplicates and his. You got to shoot the little like runes on top of his regeneration fields and stuff like that. So I'm going to go Loki as my second support.
I'll take it. He claimed all the best supports. Support wise, I'm gonna have to go. I mean, who's left? I'm gonna go Adam Warlock. Um, that res. I mean, if you execute it well and correctly, I mean, it's a game changer too, right? Like just when you think the fight's over, he can pop everybody back. If you've got another solid support, they're gonna heal everybody up, and then the fight just keeps on going, and that's enough to kind of shit to change the tide a lot of the time.
For my first Vanguard, I'm going with Cap. Uh, I wish I could go with pre-patch Cap, unkillable Cap, but he's
Mhm,
still a little frustrating to deal with. He's just an artificial fight staller. You got to focus him. You got to CC him. If your team's not looking at him, he he gives a lot of the same frustrations that Holt gives. So yeah, I'm going Cap.
mhm. Yeah.
All right, your final pick, Seth.
Um, Final pick. I would have to say I'm just gonna go Invis. I love Invis as a character. I think I can't I don't play her super well, but again, like that ult is again a huge game changer. But just when you think a fight's about to be over, she pops that. I mean, you've got like a football field worth of space to heal, even if it's for a short time, right? Yeah, that that's what I'm left with. I would prefer to have one of yours probably, but that's the point of the draft, I guess.
All right, my final pick. I'm torn, but I think I'm going to go Venom. He's just got that get out of jail free card. As soon as you have him low, he has his little, grappling hook out to be able to get out. So I'm gonna go Venom with an honorable mention to Penny Parker because she is annoying to deal with regardless. So
Yeah, true that.
all right, so just to recap, Seth's comp is Groot, Hulk, Wolf, Squirrel Girl, Warlock, in Invis. I've got Spider Man, Jeff, Namor, Loki, Captain, Venom. Let us know in the comments whose comp you think is the most annoying and give us what comps you think are the most annoying. And we'll break those down next week at the top of the show. All right, Seth, you ready to move on to the news?
Let's do it.
All right, we got patch notes for the May 20th patch. Not a whole lot here to talk about. We'll come back to the skins. They've streamlined the store. The first two pages are now dedicated to new arrivals and recommended, which is good. The store was starting to get a little unruly with them just kind of adding the newest things to the top and just having a whole one page of all of the skins that were available. The use default costume voices option has been added under settings and settings audio. Love that. I think that's a great change if you're like me and don't like change. The game is so audio dependent, right? And I think I talked about this when they talked about making this change, but when I got the wedding dress invis skin, I was like, it's really cool that they've added these uh audio things, like you get the wedding march that plays when you ult and stuff like that, and you have
Hmm.
the piano that plays when you're just like primary firing. I'm like, that stuff's really cool. It took me probably a week to just get used to those those new sounds. So if I could have turned them off day one, I probably would have.
And then I think like when you started, like I remember you making the comment in the game one time where I think you didn't even realize she was ulting because you got, or like on the other team because you've gotten so used to hearing
Hmm.
that sound or whatever, which I don't know, like it is what it is. But yeah, you do kind of train, like your brain gets trained just based on what you're used to, right? So keeps you on your toes.
Well, and for invis, like the audio cue during the ult, you get the song, so it's like dun 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 dun. And so like when you get to the end of that like song clip, that's when the ult ends. But in her
Hmm.
default skin, there's no audio that plays during the ult, so you just kind of have
Mm.
to feel the timing out. So it once I got used to the audio cue, it did present a little bit of an advantage.
You could argue that's a payable advantage.
Oh, pay to win, baby. Um,
Mm.
we'll talk a little more pay to win here in just a little bit.
That
Um,
would have been a good segue, right?
yeah, I would have. And then the other new feature is that players can now have up to 5 sprays at once on the battlefield. Do you have a bunch of sprays equipped, Seth?
I don't. I do like that change though. I think Overwatch had kind of that format to it too, right? Um, where you could kind of switch between spray screen, like your sprays, and not have to share the one wheel with both of them. I
Hmm.
really like that change. I didn't realize it just maybe it slipped my mind, or I had just missed that that was coming. Had they announced that before?
I This is the first time I've seen the spray thing. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, I noticed. I think it was earlier last week or something, like maybe it was over the weekend. When did this patch drop?
no, this is coming tomorrow or May 22nd.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, maybe I just
these notes just dropped today.
maybe I'm not counting well, but I don't know. Like they did change it up to where like you're not using the same choice wheel for your skins and your sprays or not, sorry, your emotes and your sprays and stuff like that.
Mm. Yeah, Seth, we are you know, breaking news here. We're on top of it. I knew
Mhm.
exactly about the voting for skins thing that was in the game. I was just making sure you knew.
We're just a couple of grown men that play a game. That's all we are.
Oh, also, I should probably share my screen when I'm talking about these patch notes. Let's see. Was there anything in particular? I think that was all just really bug fixes. There's no like balance adjustments with heroes or anything like that. So yeah,
I
it's
think
all.
it's cool
Go ahead.
that they're extending the Hellfire Gala event. Is the moments is that event the patch event?
The event has
Is that
been
what it's
extended
called?
by 1 week. Health. Yeah, I would assume.
Okay, that's what I'm assuming. Yeah, and I think that that's just probably helpful. I did kind of worry for a few days that I was not gonna get that skin in time, just because again, like the where it was kind of a more convoluted series of events and challenges. You have to wait, until the next day to unlock the next set of challenges. Act two had 3 parts to it. So it made me a little nervous. I'm glad that they're not. I think it's nice sometimes to have a little bit of that. Oh crap! Like I've got to grind and get this. It keeps you coming back for more, right? I don't want it all the time. I think it's cool that they're extending it and kind of allowing people it shows us again that NetEase is they're open to feedback and that they're willing to make changes, right? And they're on top of their game.
Dude. So for those that don't know, I'm the community manager for a live service football game called Maximum Football that right now is in early access. But um, part of our live service model is we have a season pass as well. And one of the challenging things about designing a season pass for a brand new game with a brand new audience and trying to understand like how people are going to engage with your game to unlock stuff is like planning out like, okay, this is how many hours it's going to take to like unlock this season pass. Like, this is how many games a week you're going to need to play in order to make this much progress. This is like how much you should be able to complete within a week, within two. Like, you gotta kind of do all that math and test it out with. And we're a much smaller team, obviously, than like NetEase. There's like 30 of us, all across marketing and development for the game. Um, but yeah, like, so we got to the end of our first season pass that we had designed, and we were like, oh, yeah, we made progressing in this a little too difficult, and so like we had to go and we like gave our community a care package of stuff from the game or from the season pass near the end tiers that they wouldn't have gotten because progress was they weren't able to complete it. We made tweaks for the next season pass and stuff like that. So this is just like a very relatable kind of thing where I'm sure that NetEase just is looking at the data and they're like, okay, maybe we made this. Maybe it's part of like the confusion in the design for the event, or whether maybe it's just the challenges are a little harder or progress is a little slower. They're just looking at it and making those tweaks. I think it's cool that they're willing to. I am curious if some of this is a little bit of a result of maybe lowering engagement with the game where it's less people playing, you know, 3-4 hours a day every single day, and more people, kind of like us where, we were every single night, we're going to get on, we're going to play for 3 hours. Now it's, hey, we're going to play, 2, 3, 4 times a week, maybe, or something like that. So,
More
I,
like 1 or 2 right now, yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah. So, um, so yeah, I wonder how much of it has to do with stuff like that. But either way, you're right. It's cool that NetEase is looking at it and like, okay, we'll give you an extra week to finish your stuff up. All right. I told you we'd go back to this, but we do have new skins coming to the game because it's another new week in Rivals. And this week it is Adam Warlock and Scarlet Witch with the Immortal Avatar and the Immortal Sovereign skins in the game. These are sick. And I think they're both
yeah.
the highest rarity, if I'm correct.
I would assume so, yeah. It's always hard because they don't really like color code them on the card. I've come to realize, like on I guess like the ad screen, they just kind of do it like dependent on the character, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Scarlet Witch's is red, Adam Warlock's is gold. The Adam Warlock one is just awesome. Like I just it blows me away. Right? It makes me want to play Adam Warlock. I'm not a very good Adam Warlock. Scarlet Witch, I'm usually not. I haven't been a big fan of most of her skins. It's just so samey. Like
Yeah,
I feel
they're all
like
just
she's in
red.
this. They're all just red, and like they have to be because that's part of her name, right? She's the Scarlet Witch. If she was wearing blue, fuck out of here.
She would be
So
the Azul Witch.
right. So this is pretty unique. I feel like it's just not another regular old dress. Not some tight fitting whatever. It's got some kind of variety to the fabric. It's not just red. Yeah, it's a super cool design. I like it a lot.
Yeah, both of these are sick. You took everything I was going to say about the Scarlet Witch skin right out of my mouth.
I'll just go fuck myself.
No, you're good, man. It's a character that they're going to have a hard time in 3 or 4 years, I think, making new skins for. Because you're right, like they're kind of boxed in to what they can do with her design. Every skin of hers, I think she has a different like hair color. So maybe that's just what they're trying for, because she's got blonde hair in this one.
Yeah, it's kind of like a kind of fiery blonde, something like that. I don't know what you'd call it. Not auburn. I don't know.
But yeah,
That's a different thing.
the Adam Warlock skin is sick. The like dragons coming up from behind him look really awesome. So
Yeah.
all right. And then our last news item, we mentioned this last week and we didn't really get into it a whole lot. It started a much bigger discussion after the episode, so we can talk about it this week. But uh, NetEase came out on the official Marvel Rivals Twitter account and just put out a clarifying statement about Chrono Shield tokens and said, "Hey, Rivals, both Chrono Shield tokens from ranked matches and Chrono Shield cards from events will not be for sale and are only usable for gold rank and below. The purpose is to allow lower ranked players to enter ranked mode with even less pressure through this mechanism." So Seth, you last night were trying to figure out how to use your Chrono Shield cards. Did you end up figuring it out?
Yeah, I did because I just needed to lose a game to figure it out, and
And then it just
eventually we
prompts you?
did. Yeah, well, it doesn't even prompt you; it just kind of automatically takes one. So
Oh.
it just happens. And I think if what I read when the event started, if I remember it right, if you have built up um, a Chrono Shield just through ranked play, just through losses, it prioritizes that first, so it won't waste one of your cards. How do you feel about this development? I know we kind of talked about it last week a little bit. I don't think we went super far in depth. Now that we've kind of seen it and had a little bit of time to play with it, what do you think about just kind of the implementation, whether it kind of has a place in ranked play, or is it god awful? Is it immoral? Is it amoral?
Is it immoral? Yes, let us open up to Ephesians chapter 5. See what the Bible has to say about Chrono Shield tokens.
There is a book called Luke. You should know this. You could just use that.
Is there?
First Luke.
um,
There is, right?
yeah, there is.
Okay, just make it's been a while.
I don't know, man. I've kind of gone back and forth about this. Because I think on the surface, I have that sort of like visceral reaction of, oh my gosh, like, do we need one more mechanic in this game that makes it easier to climb? Um, and to be fair, I'm a much bigger fan of like the Chrono Shield token that you earned through like losing games or like you
Hmm.
accumulate through losing games or whatever, because I think like having to get it through engaging with the game is better than just like with the Galactus event. It's basically like a login reward, right? I mean, you play 3 matches and you unlock it for that day or whatever, and you get what, 4 of them or something like that, and you can accrue up to 20, I think, that you can hold at a time.
Yeah, and I think even the max is 8 for right now, like just that you can get from the event. But yeah, it's something like that. The max is 20.
And then do they go on cooldown
No, no, we lost those 2 back to back at the
and
end
then
last
use them
night,
both
and
times?
yeah, used them both times.
I don't know, man.
It's
That's
it's it's hard, right? Like, I like that there are at least the restrictions on it, because it gets super frustrating, especially for like solo queue players, like we often are, because you are kind of at the mercy of just whatever the queue randomly puts you with. So I do like the idea of kind of removing some of that pressure, at least in lower level gameplay. If this went into platinum, I would not be as big of a fan of it. I wonder if maybe people would be more receptive to it if it was silver and below instead of
mhm.
gold. I feel like gold, and we've talked about this before too, right? But I think gold, we're used to it in like Overwatch and things like that. It's kind of feels a little loftier than it does in Rivals. Gold, it seems like it should be kind of slightly higher level gameplay. It's not, at least like in most of the lobbies that we find, right? It, it is what it is. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I wouldn't want to see anything more than this, kind of in this vein, but especially if it's just kind of a here and there thing every once in a while. What's the big deal?
Yeah, yeah. And that's the other side of it. That at the end of the day, like, look, guys, your rank is a number that exists on a server somewhere in China that when you're dead and gone, nobody's gonna give a fuck about. Like, so I the whole like up in arms about the Chrono Shield cards or whatever they're called, like I don't get that whole thing. I
Well, and not
do.
even that, like, it's like, you still gotta get the wins to
Yeah.
climb, right? So, I like the idea that, like they said, it's kinda taking some pressure off, because it's easy to feel that pressure, right? Like, even me as a grown man who knows that it's just a server in China somewhere, um, it's still frustrating as hell when you kinda hit those brick walls, especially as a solo
Mhm.
player.
Yeah, yeah. I do think if they continue on with this, I do hope that they add a cooldown to it. I don't like the idea that you can just have like four tokens and just run it down for 4 matches and it's cool. Like,
I was pretty surprised that that's how they were running it, yeah.
yeah, I feel like it should be like you can't use another Chrono Shield card for 3 more ranked matches or for another hour. You know, add a time limit, add a number of matches limit or something like that, um, just so that you don't have people just getting used to the idea like, oh, especially if I can stack 20 of these bad boys and I'm just playing with reckless abandon for a weekend while I'm, blackout drunk or some shit. Like, I don't remember what I did, but by God, I went 0-20 as a backline Jeff the Land Shark all weekend. But I didn't lose any rank. Uh, but yeah, I do like that they affirm that it's not going to be something that you can buy. This isn't going to be some weird gimmicky like pay to climb kind of deal. It's just going to be tied to events and as an unlockable. Um, but but yeah, I think NetEase is on record as saying their main goal with this game is to just make it fun for the casual person who's picking it up to play it. Um, and the competitive nature of the game is secondary to the goal of it being fun for the general casual population of players. And they understand that the best representation of the game that's available to the masses is in ranked. So you need to lower the barrier of entry to ranked play with these sorts of mechanics, with the loss forgiveness, with the Chrono Shield tokens, with the more ranked points for wins than you lose for losses, with the performance based rank play, all of those sorts of things to attract the casual audience. And if you can kind of isolate that casual audience to get the ranked feel of play, and they're all kind of limited to bronze, silver, gold, and then if they get good enough to climb out of those ranks and don't need to rely on those sorts of mechanics, then that's just a cherry on top. But for the people that are in Diamond who are bitching about Chrono Shield cards that some guy down in Silver is enjoying, like, it's not for you, and it's
Yeah,
not
I mean, it doesn't
impacting
affect
you.
you. And
Yeah.
again, you've got to get the wins to do the climbing, right? So again, it's kind of like just, I don't know, it takes that kind of cruddy feeling out of it. We've talked about it before too, again, right? Like the whole point of any game is to kind of get that little dopamine hit a few times in your evening, right? Just like kind of make you feel good. This is kind of supposed to help with that, I think, right? Like just kind of give people an edge that at least, like just to make it feel a little bit better for them at lower levels of play.
Hmm. For sure. um all right, well, give us your thoughts on the news in the comments, and yeah, let us know what you think. Do you like Chrono Shield cards? Do you like the new skins? Let us know and we will respond to some stuff next week. All right, let's move on to our topic, Seth. We are very, very close to getting info about season 2.5, which means a new map, which means Ultron, which means ranked reset stuff, which means new balance changes, all that sort of thing. I'm sure next week we will have actual information to talk about, but let's be honest, we don't like talking about the real shit. Let's make up some stuff. It's our official predictions episode of season 2.5. Seth, let's start talking about what we think we are going to see wherever our heart may lead us. I don't want us to really lean into leaks or anything like that. I'm sure we've seen some stuff about like Ultron. I haven't really seen anything about a new map or anything. Have you?
Not yet, no.
Um,
I'll be surprised if we don't get one, but I'm also, I mean, I feel like we've gotten, you don't want to do too much too fast.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I'm sure I think we're gonna get one too. But all right, let's
Probably.
let's let's go through and talk about some of our predictions for what we're going to see in season 2.5. Seth, do you think we're going to see a new map? If so, what mode do you think it's going to be?
I don't have too many. I'm so bad at this just in general, and I I don't know. Because a lot of it's just totally wild speculation. I
Yeah,
think
that's
some of it,
what the people are here for. All right, we don't know
I guess,
shit.
puts the asses in the seats. I mean, definitely we're gonna get something Krakoa themed, right? I think that's the only kind of way to go. I don't know what it would be. There's some cool stuff about like the moon plays into Krakoa somehow. Like there's stuff on the moon. Um, there's kind of stuff to do with I know like especially in one of the earlier Krakoa arcs, there's this kind of celestial base way out in the solar system, kind of built up around this big giant sentinel head. Something like that could be kind of cool, like a space station with some views of the big giant sentinel. I forget what the term is, mother maker. I don't know. Somebody, throw it in the comments if you know if you're a big giant nerd like me or a nerdier. Um, Something like that I think would be cool. Maybe even like as a convoy or convergence map, so you can kind of travel along the space station. We'll go with that. Hey, I'm better than this than I thought I was.
Look at you, man. You're better than I'm going to be because I don't know anything about this shit. I was just going to say, I think it is going to be Krakoa. I think it's going to be probably a nighttime theme, maybe more aligned with like the gala kind of thing, especially since they're planning on bringing that theme back over
Hmm.
time. Um, I think it's going to be a convergence map since they removed a convergence map from the ranked rotation with the dude. I get the two spider maps mixed up. Is
Yeah,
Spider
yeah.
1099? Is that the one that they
I don't know, man.
took out?
I don't
Okay,
know.
yeah, you guys
I
know what
know
I
them when
mean.
I see them.
They took out the convergence spider map, so I imagine that they're going to replace it with another convergence map. So that's my speculation, unless it has something to do with Ultron. I don't know. Could it have something to do with Ultron?
I mean, it could. I think they're kind of fitting him in to the Hellfire Gala stuff, the Krakoa stuff, right? So I kind of envision it more along those lines. But again, like I would have never fucking expected Dracula's castle in
That's true.
Central Park in the middle of New York City, right? So I'm ready to be surprised.
We got the Midtown map, which was a little bit more kind of like lore accurate to
A little more
Fantastic
traditional, yeah,
to
yeah.
Fantastic Four, but yeah, then we got and that could be the other thing, right? Because we got the Dracula map more as like a tease for Blade, which is likely going to be our
Hmm.
season 3 character. So maybe whatever the new map is going to be a tease for season 4. Maybe that's when Professor X is coming. So maybe this map has something to do with maybe the map is like the mansion. That'd be
Oh, that
cool.
would be sick. That would be. Although that doesn't really play into Krakow
Yeah,
all
that's
as much because I don't know. Could be cool, like revisiting it. I don't know, remodeling it.
I'm trying to think. Is Krakoa where Professor X is at the beginning of X-Men 97?
I think that is Genosha. I don't think
Genosha is
they've
the
done.
planet in it is the mutant planet, right? In
I
X-Men
don't think so. I
97?
think
Because Charles Xavier's like out. Spoilers for X-Men 97 if you haven't watched it. Remember, he's like out. He's married to or about to get married to some like
no, those
queen.
are just like another alien race or whatever. I
Gotcha.
forget what they're called, but no, Genosha was an island nation, and it was they pretty much what I'm trying to think they don't get genocided, but they
They get
are the
attacked.
subjects of genocide. Yeah.
Yes.
So like that huge, like millions of mutants get killed
Mm-hmm.
in that storyline, and then later on, that it's weird that timeline stuff, timey wimey, Doctor Who stuff kind of goes on with Moira McTaggart, and I don't think it necessarily replaces Genosha. I think it is still after Genosha. There's mention of Genosha at least in timelines. I don't remember if Krakoa, if that kind of timeline supersedes or kind of overlaps the Genosha one. I don't know, but same kind of ideas. Like it's a place for mutants. Krakoa is just kind of like the more perfected idea, the more perfected like bringing it into the world, kind of making everybody kind of team up and coexist across factions.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
It's the best I can do.
All right. Yeah. Um, but yeah, definitely, I can definitely see a tease because we also have the Charles Xavier statue in the Krakoa map
hmm
now, right?
hmm
So,
And
which
you've got like the emote with Emma Frost putting on Cerebro, the Cerebro helmet, right? The spray of Cerebro. He's coming somewhere. It's just a matter of when.
yeah. Um, then we got Ultron coming, and we're gonna have our first. I'm interested in what you think about this. I said we're not going to talk a whole lot about leaks, but the leaks are basically showing like Ultron is going to be a flying healer, right?
hmm
Um, how do you feel about that? Because we obviously have a lot of flying DPS. We don't have any flying healers right now, right?
No healers or
or
tanks, really, right?
tanks, right?
Thor can get up there, but he's not a flyer. Like he can't stay up there, right?
Right.
I'm excited. I think that's gonna be I'm a little nervous. I think that's gonna be a big meta shift, or at least it could be, right? If he feels good to play, but I don't know. It's gonna be something to see and maybe kind of get used to. And I say that for every new character launch, but this is definitely gonna be unique and kind of something we're not used to playing against or with, really.
Yeah. When I feel like we're gonna get to a day here where you're just gonna be able to run a 6-man comp of all flyers in all roles,
Yeah.
and you're just
Yeah. I
never
mean, it's
touching
got
the
to
comp.
happen eventually. It has to happen eventually, right? Like especially if they're dropping a character a month, or a season a month, it's gonna eventually, it's got to happen. And I mean, it's got to be fine, right? I think if you've got enough breadth of different characters and different roles, I mean, as long as it's balanced and fair, you're gonna have some ground people, like ground team versus flying teams, right? As long as you've got some people with some range and some drain, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I do feel like we need a little more counter to flyers in the game right now. So
hmm
I'm a little worried about another flyer in a different role being added now and seeing how that
Yeah.
plays out, especially if it's the same thing like infinite flying, like your storms, like your Iron Mans, um like your Johnnies, that sort of stuff. So, especially without a tank that can go up and deal with them. Like now that I've been tank maining a lot more, it's like, oh my gosh, there's an Iron Man. Normally, I would just say be the change you want to be in the world and like go deal with it yourself. But I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Like,
Yeah, I mean, you've got to either be Thor and just be really good with that, like really good, really quick with your slingerang, like jumping up there, or you've got to be just really accurate with your mag and that burst damage, right?
mhm,
That's about all it is. Penny can maybe shoot him from afar, but that's going to take forever.
yeah. Do you think the let's move on to some other just kind of we'll talk about balance changes here in a second. Do you think they're going to stick with this whole like skill or what like performance based rank points?
I think for now, I think it's pretty soon to get rid of that. I could be totally wrong, but I think that's the kind of change that it's maybe needs to stick around for a little while, either to let people decide that they like it, or for people to get so frustrated with it that it's going to make them want to change it, right? Uh, what about meta changes for you? What do you think? Are there going to be any kind of big buffs or nerfs coming ahead?
I feel like we started to get a little sense of some of the stuff that they wanted to do with like the mid season patch that they
hmm
dropped. I think we're definitely going to see some stuff with Groot getting changed on the nerf end of things. I think, can we go another patch without Luna Snow getting touched again? Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, it has been a while now that you mention it. I feel like Hulk's had a little time in the sun. I feel like he may be getting a little nerf action too. He was so great in the first part of that first season, maybe the whole first season. No, it was the first half of the first season, and he received some nerfs. I feel like his time's coming back. I feel like Strange is going to be in there somehow, some way.
Always, always.
Always, right? He's always got to be there. Other than that, I don't know of too many. I just feel like that Hulk team up is a big target right now because again, it's kind of so powerful that it's hard to fight against, and so something in that dynamic, whether it's Hulk or whether it's on the Namor end of things or the Iron Man, it's gonna maybe get a little change.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not getting stronger.
Yeah, Hulk also just got so many buffs at the start of this season. You know, he got the mobility buffs, he got the lower cooldown for his shields and stuff like that. So probably some regression to the mean with a nerf going on for him. Um, Probably some damage nerfs for Emma Frost.
I could see that. Yeah,
Maybe not like a flat math nerf, but maybe something to like the way that her beam scales or something like that. Um, but I think we're gonna see more work on Penny. I think she's gonna get some kind of buff. I think I don't know. You think Thing's probably in for a buff of some kind?
I don't know. Like, I feel like Thing. Do you say a buff?
Yeah, yeah. Or do
I
you think
don't
he's in a
know.
good
Like,
place?
I feel like he's in a pretty good place. I mean, he's a big sponge, right? But if you've got healers that are doing great things, it's not really that big of a deal, especially if the thing's just kind of using some common sense. If they're using their jump back ability, if they're running out of fights and stuff like that, not just using their charge to Yancey Street to jump into the fray. I feel like he's just kind of all around solid. Maybe that's me being too partial to him because I love the guy, but he just feels good to me right now. I feel like he's competitively viable. You see him in comp matches. You see him all over the place. And but when you don't, it's not like a game. Like you've got to have him in any particular meta, right? He doesn't have that. He's got a team up. It's not a game changing team up. It's just kind of like a solid little bit of extra life, little extra cushion when you're going into or trying to get out of a fight. So I'll take it. I feel like he's pretty safe, but you never know.
All right. What about duelists? What duelists do you think are going to get? I mean, Black Widow is obviously going to get some
Yeah,
sort of.
they're gonna keep trying something with her. I wouldn't be surprised if Johnny got another little tweak. I feel like he started to see some love. I feel like I haven't been seeing as much of him here lately.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
Winter
those are
Soldier's
kind of
probably going
big
to get
things.
get some stuff back because they.
He needs some love. Yeah.
Yeah, the again like I don't know. I'd be really curious to like hear be a fly on the wall for some of the discussions about like their approach to balancing because you have characters like Black Widow who needs a lot changed to him and they're like, well, we're just gonna do this one little like math tweak to her to maybe change we're gonna up the size of her mag like of her magazine and see if that helps. And then they look at Hulk and they're like, we're gonna change three things about his kit in this one patch and buff him. Or they look at Winter Soldier and they're like, we're going to nerf three things in his kit right here. And like, I don't know, it just seems like I don't know, sort of draw names out of the hat to see who's going to get bigger buffs, bigger nerfs. But yeah, it feels like they dropped Bucky down into the dirt, and I feel like they're going to have to pull him back up just a little bit.
A little smidge.
Um, and then as far as strategists go, I think Luna Snow. They gotta at least take like 2 seconds off of her ult or something like that. Adam Warlock's probably going to get some tweaks again to like Soul Bond because what is it? What's his Soul Bond at like now? Is it 30, 40 seconds? It's something crazy.
Something like that, yeah.
Um, and then they've already mentioned that Jeff's going to get some love in the next patch. So whatever that looks like, hopefully a damage reduction and healing buff. that's my hope.
Yeah, I would like to see something like that, but people love the guy. Is that it?
I think so. Any other changes you think are going to come through? Mantis maybe with a buff.
I feel like maybe a buff. Yeah, I feel like she's got so much to like. I just if she maybe had a little bit more, maybe like just I don't know what the count would be, but if they just kind of accelerate her healing over time just the tiniest bit. You don't want it to be too powerful. It's just a little bit too slow for her to be a great pick. I think that's the only thing I would really like to see from her for her.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the whole like base health reduction that she got was a little strange.
Hmm.
Um, in the patch that they did that on, I didn't really understand why they needed to lower her health. Storm is another one that I think might get some love. I haven't seen a whole lot
True.
as much Storm as I've because I feel like the best way to counter flyers right now is with different flyers. And
Hmm.
it's like, okay, well, let's just kind of get all of the flyers into the meta right now so that they can kind of deal with each other rather than like, because right now, like Bucky isn't. I mean, what's dealing with your flyers right now? Like Punisher,
I mean, you've either got to have really good aim, or you've got to have you've got to have a cloak with that drain. You've got to have a witch or something like that. They can like latch onto them, and it's hard to get away from. You've got to have a pretty accurate Emma Frost with her totem or whatever it is.
dude, it's
It's
hard
kind
as
of it's kind of a
yeah,
gamble. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
especially with flyers.
yeah. I tried my hardest to hit flyers with that little totem thing, and it's impossible. But I also suck at aiming, so that might be part of it. But all right. Well, like I said, next week, I'm sure we'll be talking about the actual changes coming in season 2.5. Let us know what you think is coming in the mid-season patch before we get there to make to look smarter than us if you get them right. But that's going to do it for episode 13 of Rival Banter. Seth, what are you going to be doing in game this week?
I'm gonna be probably right after we get off of here. I'm gonna go up and try to knock out those last three matches. Assuming this Yankee game is gonna be over. And yeah, just kind of I would like to get back up with you and grind some more. Maybe this weekend we can get some action in.
For sure.
Usually I kind of crash the first day after school lets out. We've got Friday night graduation this year.
Mm,
And so I kind of I think it takes me like a day or two to kind of catch up. You're kind of just like drained for that first day or two. And then you start getting like, all right, I got to go. I got to do something fun. I got to use this time, soak up the sun.
for sure. Yeah. I just want to get to gold this week. I think that's going to be my goal. I'm not very far off. Like I said, I'm almost silver one right now. So get to gold.
Mm.
We can start banning some characters out, and have a good time. But that's it for episode 13, guys. Appreciate everybody tuning in and giving us a listen. Let us know your thoughts on any of the topics we talked about tonight in the comments below, and we will read some of the best next week. But until then, good luck in your climb and don't spend too many Chrono Shield cards or whatever the fuck